Hello YouTube, Ice9 again, bringing you another Madden Mobile video. In this video, I'm going to be talking about overall of a team and versus gameplay and the compromise between them so you get the most out of your team. So my lineup has changed a little bit from some of my last videos. Biggest change, I had a league to league where Fitz dropped 8 balls on spot. He just dropped it, was open, corner in his back, made him drop the ball. So I decided, you know what, enough is enough. I'm going to try Jerry Rice at the position. So far he's worked out pretty good. I don't throw too much over the top or deep jump ball type of plays. Which is really kind of where Fitz comes into his own with the high jump, strength, and height. So I figured I'd give Rice a shot and see how he does. So far he's working out pretty good. On my team you can see there are players that I could put in to increase the overall of the team. So we're going to talk about players individually and then see what changes I could make that potentially might be better players at a given position, but I put boosters in that position just to increase my gameplay and, you know, make the team play better in general. So the first one to talk about with this, I mentioned him briefly before, is Game Changer Jason Kelce. Game Changer event is going on today. It's Monday, and so you can get, that's the time to buy these guys if you want to buy them. There's going to be a lot of them on the market. People are going to be undercutting, and this is certainly a good one to look at from a gameplay point of view, depending on what you have on your team. So Jason Kelce, we could see his stats here. Actually, I'll bring up another player so you can kind of see some of the changes here. Base, Travis Frederick with much better pass block and impact block. A little bit better impact block actually. And higher base strength, slow speed, but that doesn't really matter at the center position. But we put this guy, Kelce, in because of the +2 acceleration boost for a trade-off of -1 strength. And what that does, especially on the defensive end, linebackers accelerate a little bit more quickly, corners respond, accelerate a little bit more quickly, and it just helps out gameplay as a whole in terms of how fast the team is moving around the field. You combine that acceleration boost with some speed boosts, and you've got a pretty fast team. You've got a pretty fast team out there. Second guy that I put in there, a lot of people use this guy, is Sammy Watkins. The thing about him is if you have Mobile Masters OBJ in the lineup, you cannot use his Game Changer, which is the best overall card. It's a 93 overall card and probably the best wide receiver out of the Game Changers, but you can't have two of the same player out there, so you have to use somebody else, and this ends up being Sammy Watkins. Base, he is an overall 85, but he does boost up pretty good. He's an okay receiver. I wouldn't say by any means he's great, but he'll do, especially when he's boosted by OBJ with catch. Alright, moving on here. Another one that I have is Ramon Foster, an offensive guard. Guard is kind of actually an interesting position that you may or may not notice. A lot of times what I would do in the past was I would simply look at strength a little bit, and then pass, run block, and impact block are the key stats. But one thing that's really important when you're looking at a guard, depending on what running plays that you are running, speed and acceleration are really important to these guys, because a guy going out to pull, if he's somewhat fast and has good acceleration, he's going to make a big difference. The guy that I had in here before, legend Stephen Hutchinson, was very slow, very low acceleration, did have good block stats, but what I found was that on outside running plays, for example, toss, counter strong, etc., a lot of time Hutchinson wouldn't get to a good blocking position and would often run into the ball carrier because he'd still be trying to get out there while you're running the football and trying to turn the corner. So I took Hutchinson out, and instead, at the right guard, I took this guy, John Greco. Another one is Josh Klein, Patriots MVP. You could use him as well. And he's got really good, speed and acceleration, very athletic. So that's another guy that you could use out there as well. But with Greco, what I see, faster speed, really good acceleration for a guard. He does a lot better job run blocking for me. So that's why I use him. Moving on to the next. We have the only gold player on the team, Dry Archer. A lot of people are using this guy. There's a lot of strength boosts out there. So when you have those strength boosts going around, you can afford to sacrifice strength here and there and put a guy like this in to get the +2 speed. You can see, as a fullback, not ideal at all. Very bad blocking stats. I did try using a fullback, though. Gosh, I'm trying to remember the guy's name. But I used one of the legends as a fullback, and I found that he didn't do that great of a job blocking either. So I just preferred to sacrifice the position for a boost. In this case, get +2 speed for a combined +4 speed. On the whole team, which makes a big difference, especially on defense. It also makes a difference in terms of wide receivers getting open. Gronk does get a little bit more open, etc. So that's why I use him. You can see I've got a lot of other players that I can play in this position. The biggest of which is Barry Sanders. So I'll show you more about that in a little bit. Also, I do have a true fullback, a game changer, +2 acceleration, -1 strength. So basically taking the acceleration instead of the strength. And I can put him in the position as well. And he's got some really good run blocking, impact blocking stats. So if I wanted to, I could play him. There's a few players on the team that provide boosts where you're not really making any sacrifices. There's no real better player to play at the position. The most obvious one is Domination Gronk. He is the best receiver in the game, I do believe. He's a tight end, I know, but he's the best guy to throw to in this game. He's a big target. He's strong. Boosted up like this, he's very fast. And you'll find that he's just really easy in terms of pulling a ball down in traffic. He doesn't always catch it, depending on the defense, but a lot of times he's going to do a very good job contesting a safety or a corner for the football, or a linebacker. He's going to be too fast for most linebackers to catch up to. He's going to be too strong for most corners and safeties to contend to, and too tall. Catches it over everybody. So that's a guy that, if you don't have Domination Gronk, definitely work on getting him. Domination is going to be ending at some point, as I mentioned in my earlier video, and then Gronk is going to come out. Then the other one, obviously, is OBJ. Mobile Masters OBJ. I don't think he's the best wide receiver in the game. I actually prefer Rice as a whole, because Rice is a little bit stronger. He's taller. He's a little bit more versatile for OBJ, but I think OBJ's best use is as a slot receiver in the middle of the field, getting separation, open space on crossing plays, slants, things of that nature. He's really, really good. Onto the defense. And we can see here that there's a number of players that I have that are boosters. Julius Peppers, but this is another example of a guy. Alright, so he has +1 acceleration, another big acceleration boost, but also he's a very good player at the position. He's a finesse defensive end, and he does get in the backfield a lot of times. A lot of times, for example, if you're running pitch against this guy, he's one of those guys that will just take off from the line. The tackle will miss his block, and he'll just make a play in the backfield, drop the running back for a loss. He's one of those guys that'll do that, and that's why I play him here. I do have another +1 acceleration player that I could play, Jared Allen, and with this guy, he's more of a power defensive end. Unfortunately, though, when you look at his stats, hit power isn't really good. Power moves are great, but his block shed, which is a hidden stat, is not too good for defensive end. I haven't really tried playing him that much, but I assume that, since he's a power defensive end that doesn't have good block shed, probably not a real good player to play at that position, I would say. On the other side, to make up for Ramon Foster's -1 agility for the +2 strength, we have Jason Pierre-Paul. This is another finesse defensive end. You can kind of see compared to Jared Allen again, and Jared Allen has a lot of stats that are lower. One of the stats that is higher with Jared Allen, strength, is so easily boosted, it's not really much of a benefit. Another one of his better stats, awareness, is also not too useful just because the number of awareness boosts that you could put on a team now. Defensive lineup has changed a little bit. Richard Sherman is out of the lineup. I still like him. I could still play him out there, but right now I'm playing Hayden at the nickel. The nickel is a position that's not on the field a lot, so it's a good place for a boost. And +2 play recognition, -1 strength. Hayden is the only player who can boost play recognition. Play recognition is a huge thing, in my opinion. The defense plays better, they react to plays better, and that's why I have him in my lineup. His stats aren't great. He's not very fast. He's not very strong. His coverages are okay. 95 man coverage, 90 zone. Not great. His hit power is okay. His tackle is okay. Everything is just okay about him, but his boost is really, really important, and I'll show you about that in a second. I have a new strong safety. A lot of people are playing Sean Taylor at the strong safety position, and this is purely done to try to have somebody who can contest Gronk. I've had him, so far I've noticed he's made some plays. He makes better plays than his 66 man and 84 zone coverage would indicate. Dawkins' stats are a little bit better, but Taylor is faster, especially boosted up. You can see 98 speed for a safety is pretty good. And he's also taller. He's 6'3". So, people throwing over the top corner patterns to Gronk. This guy's going to be more in a position to make plays on that. He also has good hit power. 98 hit power. So he's going to pop some completions out of there, which is definitely a good thing as well. I've noticed so far he's been pretty good. Moving to dime for the boost, +2 strength, +2 tackle, Brian Dawkins. He's also a really good player at the position. His zone coverage is good. His hit power is really good. Speed is okay. Strength is good. Acceleration are pretty decent. Tackle's good. He'd be a good strong safety. I like playing him at strong safety, but again, I just put Taylor in there to see if he can make any more plays on the tight end, which is the biggest problem defending the passing game, in my opinion. I got rid of Tampa Bay's Danny Lansana at the 3-4 linebacker position, and I opted for instead, even though Lansana boosted Derek Brooks with tackle and boosted a number of players on my team, I figured I'd try this guy. 98 speed at a linebacker position, boosted with 99 strength, really good acceleration and tackle. Coverages are not bad. This is a guy who can run down anybody on the field. So in the 3-4 position, which you got to figure is going to be more on passing plays, I figured I'd give this guy a shot. His weakness is low play recognition. It's in the 80s somewhere, and with that does make it a little bit worse of a card. I don't think that's a long-term solution, but I'm going to give him a try and see if he makes plays. Derek Brooks, I've played him, as I said in my other video, for a long time. He's got really good coverage stats. He does make some plays for me. He's good enough against the run, so I leave him in there. And Zach Thomas, I already talked about my other video and why I play him versus somebody else. I also mentioned Mean Joe Green, but I'm going to mention him again because I think he is the best defensive tackle in the game. +2 awareness for a loss of nothing. And he does really play well at the position. Good hit power, good tackle, boosts up with awareness. He's not real fast, but you don't need that from a defensive tackle. Great power moves. The guy definitely stuffs the run and makes plays. I've also mentioned Sue and his 96 flashback card as opposed to this guy, Darnell Dockett. I took a look at the stats again and compared them. Sue is a better player. He's got better block shed. I hear really good things about his gameplay, but he's going 1.5 million plus at this point, which is just way too high a price for what you get for just a +1 strength boost. He does boost overall, Sue does, and he would boost my overall, but at this point, it's just not worth having him. Special teams, I've mentioned kickers before. I've got Koskowski in there right now. You'll get a lot of touchbacks with this guy, so I've got choices that I can make on there. I could put Vinatieri in there. I just picked him up again for like 30,000 coins, nothing. He's got decent kick power, but he's more in a position when you got a guy who's got lower kick power. This is the guy I prefer playing at the position, just because you're going to get a lot less touchbacks with this guy. They're going to get a lot of kickoffs on the 2, on the 5-yard line, etc., which means that with a good overall team, which I have, you're going to pin a lot of people back to the 15-yard line, right around that area. Okay, so we could see here, we're going to pay attention now to the overall. Total team overall is a 99. Offense is 99. Defense, which I always prefer to maximize as much as possible for gameplay. You don't control your defense on the field, so I try to put the best thing out there, I think, to defend against what my opponents are going to do against. One change that we can make right away, and that you'll see the effects of, is putting Barry Sanders into the fullback position. He's a 98 overall versus Dry Archer, which I believe is an 83 base overall. He has 2 boosts, +2 awareness, which is somewhat redundant on this team. And I'll show you more about that in a little bit. But +2 agility. So if I put this guy in this slot, right away my defense goes up to 100, or my offense goes up to 100, my defense stays at 100. Overall is at 99. So I could put him in there. If I take Rice out, even though he's a 99 overall with +2 awareness, if I add Fitz in his strength boost, that'll bring up the team's strength, which you can measure with Emmett. He's at 99 strength right now. If I put Rice back in, I believe that takes him to a 98, which is still really good. Oh no, he's still at 99 strength. Still at 99 strength out there. I'm going to start making some other changes on there and see what I could do to my overall. So the big thing here, Taylor might make plays as an individual player, but he has no boost. So if I put Eric Berry, who does have boost, +2 strength, +2 awareness, he actually drops. You could see the overall, because Dawkins is a 96 overall, he's 2 more overall, and he's got a tackle boost, which boosts the whole team. But if I take Taylor out, put Dawkins in, then we see that now my offense goes up to 101 overall, and my defense goes to 100. Making another change here, Gostkowski at kicker, and we see we have 101, 100, 97, and 100 total overall, which is awesome. 100 overall is very, very hard to get, and I can get it. The problem is, actually I did this with Rice. Let's see what happens if I put Fitz in there. He actually drops it to 100 offense. So this is the highest overall team that I can have out there, and it's not a bad one. I still have a strength booster, or a speed booster rather, Sammy Watkins in the lineup. Even though he's a low overall player, an 85, we still have 101 offense with him. We have Barry Sanders with the agility and the awareness boost. Now, when we go back, and you could always check what your overall awareness is by looking under strategy, under head-to-head, and it's a 99 defensive awareness, which is as high as it gets. But the question is, what are we doing with this team? You know, what's good about this team, and what sacrifices are we making to get the overall up there? If I think that Taylor's going to make more plays than Dawkins, that's first of all. If I think he's a better strong safety, that's the first change that I'm making on there. So if I prefer to have Taylor in the lineup, I put him here at the nickel position, regardless of what the boost is of Hayden. I believe that that is the position to play a corner on. That's a lot of times the nickel position is man coverage, and in my opinion, you want a corner there. So you don't want to do, in my opinion, what a lot of people do, and that is put a safety in there. That again, that increases our overall and then gets that up there. But now our team has a very important boost gone, play recognition, and we've got a guy who doesn't have as good man coverage out there in the safety position. In a lot of situations he might be okay, but I prefer not to set up a team like that. Then we make a decision between Dawkins and Barry at 9. And in my experience, Barry makes plays. I think he's a perfectly good player. However, I think Dawkins is better. He also has a boost, +2 tackle. While that's going to be subtle, you're not going to see head-to-head coming in. You're not going to see the tackle boost as much. It is going to make a difference. It's definitely going to make a difference out there. Now we see, though, with Dawkins, with James Harrison, with Sean Taylor, who just had 98 speed. They're at 96 speed. That's fine for a safety. That'll keep up with Gronk, even though Gronk's boosted with the pursuit stat, which makes guys run a little bit faster. That's going to make up for it a little bit. However, the speed is down a little bit. Night Train Lane, who'd be at 99 speed. Ed Reed would be at 97 speed with that other speed booster in there. So this is, what's going to be more important. Barry Sanders is going to block better, a little bit better than Dry Archer. He's going to be a better fullback than Dry Archer in terms of running the football. He's got much better carry stats. He's stronger. He'd be a really good fullback, but the boost isn't as good. So I prefer, even though Barry Sanders again is my favorite player of all time, I prefer to have this guy in there. And there you go. My overall goes down to 99, back from 100. Again, Gostkowski is going to kick it into the end zone a lot of times. We don't kick field goals and head-to-head too much. So we put this guy back in here. So we have Watkins, the speed booster. We have Dry Archer. And this is the way that I have my team set up. I wanted the best overall wide receiver that I can get in terms of a possession receiver at wide receiver 1. And I get that in Jerry Rice. Even though I lose the strength boost, he's still in there. Let's just review everything, make sure it's set up to how I had it in the first place. We could see now Reed is at 97 speed. Taylor's at 98 speed. And we sacrifice a little bit of strength for doing that, but we still have a very strong team with a lot of strength boosters. We have Gronk. We have Ramon Foster. We have Dawkins. We have Dockett. So we have all these guys boosting strength on this team. And, so strength is perfectly fine. Also, Night Train Lane boosting +2 strength at that position. So it'd probably be perfectly fine if you want to put a team. I think one of the things is that just because you have a boosted team out there, it doesn't mean they're going to play great. Just because you have a boosted team out there doesn't mean they're going to make plays. I found that in a little test with Papa Raider, who I recommend again checking out his YouTube channel, Papa Raider. You could see him and also other people in my league, in my subscriptions. But I was trying different strong safeties against Papa Raider and just having him with uncountered plays, see who would make plays and see who didn't. Taylor didn't make any plays against him. When I put Dawkins out there, he found that Dawkins, true to the stats, was tighter coverage, but he still made the plays. And even putting this guy in here, which I talked about before, Jason Taylor, this is a 6'6" safety. He still didn't make plays. He's not fast enough. He just wasn't in position to make plays on him. This is a pretty small sample size. I could have tried more, but given the guy's speed, I think it's probably a better bet to play a guy like Sean Taylor at the position and see how he does. Kind of a compromise. So, I mean, that's what I wanted to talk about in this video, though. Just overall versus gameplay, making choices. Even if you have what you think are going to be the right guys out there, it's not going to be a guarantee. It all comes down to the player. People who can play can beat teams of higher overall all the time. You know what plays to execute. if you execute the plays and they're uncountered, you're going to be able to score on a defense regardless. But it is all about choices and what kind of team that you want to put out there. Personally, I'd love to put Barry Sanders out there, but if I did, I'm not going to run him as fullback. I'd run him as halfback, and the problem is Emmett drops some passes, but Barry drops a lot of passes. He's not a good receiving halfback at all. Barry Sanders is. And for plays on smash, curls, or any of the HB wheel or outlet passes, as they call them, he's just not going to be as good an option. So that's why we have Emmett out there. He's a power runner. You can see now he's 98 strength with the current team that's out there. He's a power runner, and in my opinion, trucking will get you more yards than a juke move, and Emmett can juke too. So, but that's basically what I wanted to cover in this video. If you guys have any questions, comments, want to see anything, let me know. Thanks for watching.